Mine's bigger than yours.
You know what they say about guys with bigger swords? Good thing I fight with smaller blades.
Hmm.
What?
Alex,
Yes.
Again?
what's with the cape this time?
It's my elvish cloak. What do you think?
Hmm.
Dude, check this out.
All right. Whoa! Nice elvish camouflage, dude.
Where did you get those?
Hi, I'm Tony.
And I'm Tim.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Wizards in the Basement!
Episode 2. All right, kids. So this time we're gonna review the Hobbit trilogy. We'll begin with an unexpected.
The Unexpected Journey.
Thank you.
We're going to be doing the entire 3 Hobbit trilogy, starting out with number 1, The Unexpected Journey.
Let's dive in.
I think we should begin with expectations for the movie.
Okay.
Because there was a 11-year gap between Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, I believe. All that I remember is after Lord of the Rings, I wanted Hobbit to come out so damn bad. But now that I've seen them all, I believe the saying, be careful what you wish for, definitely applies.
I can't remember what my expectations for The Hobbit was. I'm gonna say something now. There we go. But yeah, I was excited for The Hobbit, but I was not expecting another Lord of the Rings because The Hobbit is just a very different kind of story. It's a children's book.
It is.
In Lord of the Rings, it's much more adult and it's much more grand in scale. So, was not expecting anything like Lord of the Rings. I just figured, I knew going in this would be a much smaller adventure, which it kind of was and kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the actual review now. So,
Unexpected Journey begins with an unnecessary, in my opinion, an unnecessary prologue. There's explanation about the dwarves and all the dealings in the Lonely Mountain, Smaug, and that whole fiasco with the dwarves fighting the dragon and all that. Drama between the dwarves and the elves.
yeah, the presentation could have just been different rather than being given it to us at once at the beginning, just gradually find out, which is how it starts out in the novel, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
The Unexpected Party.
The Unexpected Party.
Yes.
Later that
Gandalf.
night.
Yeah, Gandalf meets with Bilbo for the first time. Well, not the first
I
time.
like
but
this whole sequence.
Yeah. Here we're given kind of even more backstory to Thorin.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he's reintroduced again as the Prince of Erebor.
Right.
And then they reveal that they're on a quest to go back to the mountain and reclaim the treasure, reclaim the kingdom.
And find the Arkenstone.
Find the Arkenstone, which is why they decide to hire Bilbo.
Why Bilbo? Did he just want to pick someone who was just like a single dude who had no family, who is kind of like expendable? That's what I
I
think.
don't know. He definitely picked him because he's a hobbit.
Right, but he could have picked any of the other hobbits, I suppose.
What? Get little young toddler Frodo.
Exactly.
Now, moving along.
So yes, the company of dwarves and Gandalf, they all leave Bag End because Bilbo declines their offer to join them. And in the morning, Bilbo wakes up and he's like, "Oh shit, I have second thoughts now. Therefore, I'm gonna go do something with my life and go on an adventure."
Pretty much. So he catches up with them, he signs his little contract thing, and they're on
Getting
their way.
14% of the treasure.
Yep. So basically, I mean, they just travel for a while until we get to basically the troll scene.
Troll
Really.
scene, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and
before that we actually get some more we get even more backstory with Thorin, where Azog is introduced. They're like, oh yeah, I killed Azog years ago, but then no, Azog is revealed to be alive and well. He just lost his hand and replaced it with a fork. Just kind of lame.
yeah, I guess speaking of Azog, I hate Azog because he's not scary at all. The Uruk-hai in Fellowship of the Ring were a billion times more scary looking than this CG albino dude.
Yeah, Lurtz. I think his name was Lurtz or something like that. That one Orakai from Fellowship was way better.
I just want to explain to the kids, a lot of the CG characters in the Hobbit trilogy were originally going to be men in prosthetic suits, and they looked really badass. Yet
original Azog.
the original
There's a
Azog
picture
looked
up there.
There
really
is?
scary.
Yeah, there's a picture of Azog.
I'll
as
display it. I'll
an
display
actor.
the pictures right here
Right here on
to,
top
to
of the
show.
show.
Yeah,
Tim is Azog. There we go.
yeah.
Yeah. That
And
was
somewhere
badass.
in the beginning, in the middle, or right in the beginning of production, I believe the producers, maybe Peter Jackson himself, unfortunately, changed their mind about how they wanted these characters to appear.
CG is cheaper than prosthetics.
Yes, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, the trolls.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Excellent sequence.
Great scene from the book and well executed. Here we kind of see Bilbo. Well, he has to be a hero now, and he basically saves the dwarves. After that, or sometime during that, we are introduced to a new character named Radagast.
Radagast might be my favorite character.
Radagast
a fellow wizard, and I guess he's like some kind of nature wizard or something like that.
Pretty much.
And for those who don't know, the actor who plays Radagast used to be Doctor Who from the 80s. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Which doctor?
I actually like that they show him because more wizards is always cool, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. Radagast is introduced, and he discovers that there's like a growing darkness in Middle Earth, and he gets that Morgul blade that
Mhm.
belongs to
Yeah.
I think it belongs to the Witch King, and delivers it to Gandalf. During that time, Gandalf and the dwarves, they find like this cave where they get their swords and stuff. Bilbo
Oh,
gets
yeah.
Sting.
What happens after they get their awesome new weapons?
I believe after that is when, not Azog, but just his orcs
we have that.
go after him.
We
go
have
after
that
them.
awesome warg chase
There's
sequence.
a war chase through the
Ooh.
plains.
Not
And
to
it-
mention the sled of rabbits.
I was fine with that since a Hobbit was a fantasy book for kids. For them to show that, I was okay with.
Yeah. Then they are rescued by a bunch of elves, led by none other than Elrond.
Yay,
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. All right. So they meet up with Elrond, and they are taken to Rivendell.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome Rivendell, where they are treated to awesome elvish room service and fun stuff. They talk to Elrond about their quest, and then Elrond agrees to help them out. He takes them to like some weird chamber or cliffside under a waterfall or something like that. Yeah, they decipher the map that leads to the secret entrance, and then they decide. They find out that it can only be opened on this one day, Durin's Day, and they have until the end of fall or some season or something like that. Basically, they have to get there pretty damn fast if they want to get there in time. So after Elrond helps out the dwarves, he and Gandalf go to have their White Council, where Galadriel shows up.
And
Saruman.
Saruman the Wise.
Yep.
Saruman the Wise.
Saruman the douche.
Saruman's being kind of a dick. He's like, "Oh, you have no evidence to prove that."
He's been dead and destroyed for all these centuries.
Exactly.
Why would he ever come back? The ring was missing.
Yeah, and he's like, "My real concern is this quest of yours. I don't think this is such a good idea." And
your
okay,
cousin
why?
must have been on shrooms or something.
Yeah, I believe that was bad interpretation by the screenwriters and actors and directing as well, because they just know already beforehand that Saruman becomes a bad guy.
I think so. Yeah,
But yeah,
but you know, despite that, it's kind of cool.
the
kinda cool to see
White
everybody.
Council was cool. So then we basically have the journey continue with the dwarves.
The dwarves leave Rivendell without Gandalf.
Yep.
and we are treated to a pretty intense sequence in the mountains with the rock giants.
Yep.
One of the best CGI well done sequence I've seen.
What?
You get into a cave and find shelter, basically.
But then the cabin just crumbles underneath them, and then you see all this weird, crazy shenanigans, which almost all of them should have been dead or at least had a few broken bones.
Now we come to the crazy shenanigans that go on in the Goblin City, the Goblin
City.
Town, whatever, where some of the most ridiculous physics you'll ever see will go on. But yeah,
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Dwarves are captured.
By
the goblins. Bilbo manages to sneak away because, well, I guess he's a
because
hobbit,
the book
and
you know that's
hobbits can do
what
that
happened
sort
in
of
the
thing.
book.
He just ducks down as everyone like tramples over him until they're gone. But then he is found, like a goblin finds him, and then they get into a fight or something like that, and they roll off a cliff into the darkness. Meanwhile, the dwarves are brought to the Goblin King, who is nice and ugly looking. Which the CG,
I was just like, okay, whatever. It's CG big goblin dude. Okay.
all of the goblins,
all
were
the
CG.
goblins were CG, which was
But-
kind of disappointing because weren't goblins in Fellowship of the Ring at what was that place?
Moria.
Moria. Weren't goblins there?
Yes.
They were all real people in prosthetics, and then they
Yeah.
looked super scary.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the best scene in the movie,
Riddles in the dark.
Riddles in the Dark.
So while the dwarves are being held captive by the goblins, we get back to Bilbo, who awakes in this dark cavern thing, and there we are introduced, or should I say reintroduced,
To a slightly more youthful Gollum, who is, I believe that might be one of the best acted scenes from Andy Serkis playing Gollum. Anyway,
It was, well acted, well scripted. Just the whole exchange between Bilbo and Gollum, the actors did a great job. That's probably, that's some of my favorite scenes of the whole movie.
so where the fuck were we?
We just finished talking about the awesomeness of Riddles in the Dark.
Ah, yes.
And
Okay.
now we return back to the goblins and the dwarves, which it looks like the dwarves are about to be dinner. And then Gandalf appears.
Gandalf appears and does some kind of cool something where everyone gets like blown back by some kind of magical shockwave.
Yeah. And then we get
Then we get the most headache-induced chase sequence of all time, in my opinion.
we got some pretty wild camera angles and just action.
We don't need to discuss what happens in the chase sequence except for the end when all the dwarves they fall down on some kind of wood bridge thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
That is
it's just
ridiculous.
like, okay, I was totally fine with some of the fantasy shit that goes on, but that just defies physics. All those dwarves should have been dead at the end of that ride down the fucking cliff.
On top of that freaking ginormous Goblin King squashes them. He falls right on top of them afterwards.
That dude must
Well,
weigh a
that should
ton.
do it.
That golem must weigh a ton, and he crashes onto them, and none of them die.
It's like when Pokemon, when somebody falls down and then like a Snorlax rolls over them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have another great scene that I really like, is when he's about to kill Gollum, but he decides not to. I really, really liked that scene.
That was pretty good too.
I just really liked that moment, because that's another very pivotal moment in Lord of the Rings history, is when he spares Gollum. We'll see why in Return of the King. So yeah, he meets up with them, and there's another scene and that's also another moment I like, is when he meets back with the dwarves, and then he's like, you guys don't have a home, so I want to help you get it back. And it's like a nice little touching moment where
Okay.
So yes, they meet up at the mountainside, and then they get chased by Azog and the wargs and all the other baddies.
that felt kind of like too long of a sequence.
Thankfully, the eagles are coming.
Yes.
They come to save the day.
The Deus Ex Machina of Lord of the Rings.
I tell you what.
Eagles, yes.
I tell you what. J.R.R. Tolkien. he definitely knew how to write his way out of a jam. Whenever, our heroes are in trouble, just have the Eagles come in there to save the day.
Pretty much. Bilbo gets a nice heroic moment when he saves Thorin. And they get rescued by eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thorin gets healed, and he thanks Bilbo, and
Azog's like, I will have my revenge, or something like that. Anyways, rescued by the eagles, and then they're brought to this, hillside or mountaintop.
Mountaintop. Yeah, don't you think it would have been helpful if the Eagles kind of dropped them, on the ground level? So they didn't have to climb down this mountain?
Or how about just directly to the damn lonely mountain?
I know, it's it's literally probably 10 miles away. The Eagles could have just flown. Okay, anyway.
They're
whatever.
probably we need to go back and get gasoline. So we'll just drop you off here and we'll be back later on.
Contract warranty.
So they see the lonely mountain and you're like, oh, we're almost there. Hooray. And then the movie ends with
the
nice
close-up on Smogs' eye.
Yep, and it's like dun dun dun.
That's basically unexpected journey in a summary that took half an hour. But let's talk about things we liked about the movie.
Great thing about this movie: Martin Freeman as Bilbo.
Mm-hmm.
He really owns it in this role. Andy Serkis as Gollum.
Yep. I like the execution of the memorable scenes in the book, unexpected party, the whole thing with riddles in the dark,
the troll scene.
The troll scene. But I felt like there was just, they really wanted to stretch this out to make it feel more epic than it really was.
And stretch it out, they did. Yeah. Actually, all the acting, I think, was real well done.
There's nothing wrong with any of the acting, really. It was all good.
It was all really solid.
Especially on Thorin's parts.
Thorin, yep. Gandalf, Saruman, Galadriel.
Yeah. It was all
Everybody.
good. So, let's jump into our, recommendations and scores.
All right.
So, if I was a scorer, this first movie of the trilogy, I would give it, because I'm biased and a Lord of the Rings fan, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely recommend the movie. To Lord of the Rings fans. If you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, this might seem a little bit long and dull.
I would also give this a solid 8 out of 10. It's good, decent, but to a lot of people who's not familiar with Lord of the Rings and everything else, it might be a little too long, and you wouldn't get it. What do you think?
I'd give it the same score. Yeah, roughly 8 out of 10. It's it's a good movie. It doesn't meet the same level. It's not the same level as the original Lord of the Rings movies, but it's still a good addition to the series as a whole. It has its problems, but the parts that are good are very, very good. All the great scenes that we remember and love from the book are very well done. When I first saw it in theaters, I was just really psyched and really happy throughout watching all of it, because it was back in Middle Earth, and it just, I just had this feeling throughout the whole viewing of the movie. It's it's great to be back. It's just really great to be back, to be in Middle Earth. So, yeah, definitely check out The Hobbit.
Okay, guys, this is going to be the end of Unexpected Journey. But stay tuned, and we are going to have the next movie of the trilogy coming out most likely next week.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to a YouTube near you.
Basically. Until then, leave your comments down here.
Tim?
Or there,
All right.
or
Tim,
wherever.
send us out in trailer voice, please.
Till next time, the desolation of Smog.
Bye,
Bye.
kids.
Bye.